Welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight, Fred Pellegrini Jr. and John Merks. This episode is sponsored by Inglewood Brewing. And now your hosts, Daniel Kine and Alan McCutcheon.
Sitting here with Fred Pellegrini. Fred, you're an awesome guy from Central Pennsylvania. You are Grammy Award-winning, involved with the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame. You play in a band. We're going to jump into all these different topics separately. But first of all, I wanted to thank you for coming on the show and spending your time with us here today.
Great to be with you guys this evening. I really enjoyed my involvement with the CPM, HOF, and Brandon, and everybody, and I'm just happy to help.
Gotcha. Well, hey, we're happy to have you here. Thank you for supporting our local music community and being a part of it for all these years. I named a couple things here opening up, so let's kind of dive into that. So you were 2024 Grammy Award winner. If my notes are correct, Regional Roots Music category. Can you elaborate that on that a little bit and tell us a little bit more about that?
2023. We were nominated again in 2024, but 2023 we won. I am a recording engineer.
Microphone.
I need a boom. The Grammy thing. I am the lead recording engineer for a company called Monk Music, and we do the annual New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival every year, and we record whatever bands will work with us. This year we did 160 bands in 2 weekends. A lot of huge names, a lot of regional stuff, and that's where we kind of specialize, and that's where the Grammy came from in 2023. The band was Ranky Tanky. Ranky Tanky is out of North Carolina. It's Gullah, G-U-L-L-A-H music, which is African meets Appalachia in a way.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and this band is one of the few that tours nationally doing it. I have our other nominations are for Americana and for Zydeco, which is also a regional roots category.
How did you get involved with the?
I started in New Orleans. One of my dear friends from Harrisburg went to Loyola and volunteered to work Jazz Fest and got involved with them as a volunteer and started recording, and they were shorthanded, and I got a call in the spring of 2011, hey, you want to come to New Orleans and do some recording? And I said, yeah. And after that, it was, well, we have to go on the road with the Allman Brothers. Do you want to come do this? Yeah. And then we do Peach Festival, and we did Wani Festival and a bunch of other stuff. But, yeah, a little bit of time on the road in the hotel rooms.
I'd say so. Wow. So, and then you worked your way up to head engineer as well.
Well, there's only, with the technological changes in recording, there's only 3 of us now. It used to be 6 of us. But computers have gotten faster. Digital recording has improved, and I average 4 CDs a day. The guys behind me are at least 3 CDs a day. I don't know if you guys have ever recorded. No one does a CD in a day. I do 4.
That's insane.
So,
wow.
I mix way faster than we call it combat mixing. Is there imperfections? Yes, there's imperfections. There's imperfections in the performance. There's bad mic cables. There's bad microphones. After a weekend at Jazz Fest with 4,000 players on 13 stages, shit breaks.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Stuff breaks.
Okay.
Whether it's booms, whether it's Marshall amps, whether it's SM58s, it all goes down, and that's a testing ground because we just beat it into the ground. So we have failures. I can tell you some heartbreaking. We didn't get that recording. Artists dying. A lot of the real famous artists are getting older and passing away. Famous band called the Funky Meters, a legendary funk band in the United States in history. Their final recording we lost because of a drive died in the middle of the show.
Oh, my goodness.
And that was their last show. It was their final show, and we lost it. And you go,
yeah.
how do you get past this? Is On the other hand, we've captured going into COVID 2019. I gotta just stop and think back, but we lost several artists during pandemic that I did their last shows, and it's hard.
Yeah, it's not just
when
all.
you're the archivist as well. You're not just, hey, I'm making a CD. You're capturing the time.
Yeah, you. That's a really capturing the time is a good way to put it. And you don't think about that from an outside perspective. You think it's all just unicorns and rainbows. I guess it's all good times, but
we're here at the festival. Let's go. But the New Orleans Festival is a real big picture of America every year. If you're not familiar, it's not just jazz by any means. This past year, Foo Fighters played, the Stones played. You name it. If I pulled it out, it's estimated 4,000 artists play a year.
Wow.
And it's all the big names traveling across America. Willie Nelson, I've been with Willie there several times. I've been Bonnie Raitt, Earth, Wind and Fire. You name the blues legends, they've all been there.
How long does it go on for?
It's 2 weekends. It's the last weekend of April, a couple days off, then the first weekend of May.
Okay.
So 8 days total, 4 and 4, Thursday through Sunday. And it's 11 to 7 every day. It doesn't go late.
Oh, man. Well, I'm sure after working that kind of shift, you're kind of glad it ends at 7 o'clock. Go home and get some shut-eye.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 12 to 15 hours every day, 2 weeks straight.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's a challenge, but I love it. The food's awesome.
I believe.
The food is legendary, and the first year you go, you start. You anticipate the New Orleans juice, as they say, and the Bourbon Street will suck you in, especially as a beginner. And after the first year or two, you learn you also need to sleep once in a while. But New Orleans doesn't come to life till 10 p.m. And they go regularly till 3 or 5 in the morning, and it's amazing music till 5 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of the bands that play Jazz Fest leave their night gig, keep drinking, and come straight on in the morning.
So now, outside of New Orleans Music Festival, you do, or Jazz Festival, you do a lot of other stuff. You're in your own band right now. You're in a Grateful Dead tribute band.
Yeah.
Crippled But Free.
Crippled But Free. We're a rather popular local Grateful Dead tribute band. Mike Banks, Aaron Daniel Gall, Jeremy Pierce, Travis Warlow, and Jimmy Aguzzi. Great guys to play with. We are in year 12. We're between 11 and 12 right now. We got to play City Island this summer. That was a lot of fun. We did New Orleans, or New Cumberland's, St. Patty's Day, when they closed down Main Street.
I was there.
We were with Martini Brothers. We were after Martini Brothers.
I saw you play. Didn't even know it was you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a hoot. The stage was a little wobbly, but other than that, as were the people, but we all had a darn good time.
I heard they're going to expand it a little bit more next year.
I hope so. Thad Eisenhower did an awesome job. The people in New Cumberland really knocked it out of the park. Yeah. There was something for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids, a lot of family stuff. Yep. Of course, some shenanigans that I heard some of the locals didn't like too much. But hey, what are you going to get? It's St. Patty's Day, and I think a good time was had by all.
Exactly, man. You got the community together. You got some live music. A little bit of stuff's going to happen, but you know what? I think the good certainly outweighed the bad with that. I mean,
boom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The good far outweighed the bad. And let's hope it grows.
Oh, yeah. I hope so, too. I love that town, and, just seeing live music thrive and flourish, that's what we're all about here.
Right.
So how long – so, okay, let's go back a little bit further. How did you get started in music? Where did your music career begin?
I've always been this skinny and kind of ugly, and I figured the guitar was the only way I was ever going to get a girl. It started when I got my first guitar at 16. I think I got to give a shout out to Shay here, because truthfully I think it was the Sharks that I saw first at the Hershey Italian Lodge. My sister was a fan. I think I snuck in at 14 years old, because I know it was before I could drive. And it was the Sharks playing, and all the girls, my sister's friends, were going crazy. And I was like, I think I could do this. And I got my first guitar at 16 for my 16th birthday. I just sat in the corner and played it. And played it and played it and played it, and got accepted to Berklee College of Music when I was 18.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I must have played it a lot. And just no looking back. I started playing acoustic guitar, the James Taylor, Neil Young, the Eagles stuff back when you could make money doing it 4 nights a week.
Mm-hmm. Is this while you were at Berklee playing 4 nights a week?
No. When I was in college, I was in college. And then after 2 semesters at Berklee, I transferred to University of Miami for audio engineering. I must have ADHD undiagnosed, because the first time I saw a 48-channel mixing console with all the knobs and the faders, it was the holy grail moment. I mean, honestly, I had to touch it.
Uh-huh.
And
what do these do?
I still to this day, when I see a big console, I literally have a collection of mixing board pictures. Like, some guys have porn, or some guys have cars, or whatever your thing may be. I have a scrapbook of mixing boards over the years, and ones that I've worked on for sure.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, hey man, everyone's got their stick,
Thing. There used to be a music store down 83 on the way to York called Big Z Music on the left side. And I had gotten early 70s Gibson Firebird while I was at Berklee. And I liked my Strat more, so it was my second guitar. But I went down and I saw a PV 24x4 channel board and traded the guitar, which was probably worth 3 times as much for that mixing board, because it was like the biggest one I could find and buy at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't even have 24 microphones. So
I was going to say, what are you running through that?
Yeah, I think I ran my cassette player, or 2 cassette players, and was at the at-home DJ. But yeah, no, weird obsession with the knobs and stuff. So
just so you know, these actually turn over here on the fridge. So.
Englewood has the same one in the green room.
Oh, you know what they do? I saw that. We were there. Stevie was giving us a tour the one day.
Yeah,
And yep.
Yeah, they were used to seeing the Marshall. Foo Fighters have one on stage. Only they took the Marshall thing off, and it says Foo Fighters.
Oh, really?
Custom made.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a video out there. I just spotted it, and it was at Hershey. I spotted it going up beside Dave at the Hershey show.
And you so what do you do at Hershey?
I'm a stagehand. I'm a union stagehand, along with 120, 150 other guys.
My goodness.
Yeah, a great crew to work with. 7-year apprenticeship, so by the time you're in the crew, excuse me, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Big concerts, a lot of stuff that can kill you.
Yeah, I believe that. A lot of big stuff hanging up high.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of safety.
Safety. You always have a hard hat on while guys are up in the air, trusses moving.
My goodness.
Yeah, a lot of stuff will kill you. Those speakers hanging up in the air, a couple tons.
Yeah.
And not like there's no electricity running around when it starts raining. Go ahead and disconnect that 30 amp, 14 kilowatt generator. Get close to it. You can feel the sparkle.
Yeah, get your rubber boots out.
Yeah. And Cirque du Soleil comes to Hershey. Cirque pulls more power than you can believe for God knows why, but they bring their own generator trucks. But you can hear the buzzing through the 30 amp cables of it just drawing juice during the show.
Oh my God.
To the point where your hair's, when you're going by, your hair starts standing up. Lady Gaga, we brought 12 14 kilohertz generators in to run her show, and had to run all the 30 amp feeder.
Wow.
The biggest one, though, is the RV show. For the parking lot for Hershey, when the RV show comes in, 58 miles of 30 amp cable get laid down.
58 miles.
58 miles of 30 amp.
That's my work commute and back.
That's telephone or high power wire that you see. 58 miles.
How long does it take
cable
to set up something like that?
4 days to run it out to all the different generators. There's one generator per what they call a block.
Mm-hmm.
And 30 amps run to each individual RV that's hooked up on there. It's 3-day back on with what you get big boxes on the back of a pickup truck, 2 guys on the back, 2 guys walking along with it, and he backs. and you just pull, and you're putting it in the boxes, and you're pulling.
Wow.
And you're pulling.
It's physical
and you're
labor.
pulling, and you're pulling some more. I turned that gig down this year.
I don't.
After doing that twice and not being able to walk the next day.
Don't know if I blame you for that one. That's
that's still a good old heavy.
So, question for you: what would you say is, to someone that an untrained eye, someone that doesn't know anything about music production or music engineering or something like that? What do you think is something that would be the most surprising or baffling to them? A fact about that topic or specialty.
People have, in the world of concerts, which I it's kind of my specialty. I guess I've worked in recording studios a long time, but as far as live concerts, people have no idea what goes on behind the scenes at a concert. There really needs to be a good documentary about what goes on, and I've seen some really good ones. Rush has a really good 2-part documentary out about behind the scenes and what the riggers do and what the it's a factory. I mean, it's literally a factory where everybody has their part of a production line. When we go in, just as stagehands, you'll show up and our BA, business administrator, goes, "You're on stage carpentry, you're on stage electrics, you're on audio, you're on video wall, you're on lighting." We have the different categories, or electrics. And today you may be audio, tomorrow you may be lighting. But that team, you'll then very often get color-coded T-shirts, so the traveling guys go, "Hey, that's my crew.
Mm-hmm.
You do this. Don't worry about what's going on over there. Don't talk to the sound guy and tell him that your buddy used to play in Led Zeppelin," or whatever the thing may be.
There's like an etiquette to it.
You're going to Hershey factory and you're working on the wrapping machine, or you're going to the ship's parts depot and you're driving the forklift today.
Mm-hmm.
That's your gig.
Okay.
You get assigned to it. Okay, our specialty is what goes on in concerts, but there's seamstresses, there's people that do nothing but fill up the CO2 tanks for the pop guns and the confetti streamers, and then there's guys that do nothing but connect 4 rows of lights. That's that guy's entire job for the tour. It's very mundane things, but it's very corporate.
Yes.
It's not like one cool band with a couple of hang-on buddies who get everything done, then they get on the bus and then they go do everything again.
Mm-hmm. It's a full production.
It's chop, 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 chop.
Yeah.
In the world of recording, I think we all need to be real scared of AI. I think, and I'll say that going boldly, we've gone too far with loops, with manipulation of vocals, with pitch correction. We are losing creativity in the masses and getting real cheap enjoyment on TikTok quickie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that firmly. People can criticize me and say, "Hey, I'm old, get off my lawn." And I'll say it to myself too, but what New Orleans has taught me is that it depends on where you're from. In New Orleans, kids proudly walk around with trumpets and trombones. You don't see people walking around Harrisburg with trumpets and trombones.
No.
The Zydeco culture down south is a very real part of their heritage. Probably the way Appalachia was with bluegrass, it was at one time. However, there it's still got real hard roots. People still go out on the Friday night to the local dance hall.
Mm-hmm.
We're losing that in a big way. But what I can do with anybody walking off the street and make an album, I can make an album with anybody walking in off the street. You don't need a horse's ass of talent. And we're starting to see that in it coming into the live thing. Oh, I had to do 120 takes to get my guitar lead right. You're not good.
No.
Quite honestly, if you have to do 100, I'm sorry. It may sound rude, it may sound get off my yard, but walk on stage and play the gig with your band.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't do it well, you shouldn't be there, and you definitely shouldn't be trying to sell a CD.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's an art. People practice it their entire lives. They work their butts off for it to try to get their name out there. And you got these people out there using AI to correct their voice, and they're not practicing their music at all. And then they're just
my
trying to get
monitor so I can play along with the click track. I had a band come in, that very big band in the late 90s, early 2000s, 4 or 5 big top 10 chart hitters. In the ears, in the record, Bob's guitar lead, verse, chorus, in their in-ear monitor feed, along with the click track. Now, you guys have made millions of dollars doing these 4-minute pop songs. You are telling me you can't remember when your guitar lead is? That it's verse, verse, chorus, verse?
Uh-huh.
This is going a little too far, Bob. You know, give me an acoustic guitar, and there's so many good young talent. Addie Grace is a popular one in the area.
Yep.
Addie Grace is one in the area. Noah Gibney is another really excellent musician. These guys are doing it. Don't get swept up in the bad stuff, the not merit or meritless stuff.
No, exactly. And look, not to tell you, you can't use new technology to make good music. That's not at all what we're saying.
Nope.
We're just saying it is an art, and we believe that it's sacred and should be practiced, and you should at least make an effort to be good rather than buy yourself to be good. It's like telling Da Vinci someone got famous off drawing a stick figure.
Right.
Yeah.
The satisfaction comes from your heart. I'm a golfer, and when you play a good game of golf, it's not because you beat your buddy. It's because you did really well yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when your band plays really well on a night, you know it, you feel it. It's a magic in the air that this click check, do it over and over again. It's just not that same sense of victory that really in your heart and in your ethos, your spirit. And your collective spirit as a band with your mates.
Yeah, it's an electric feeling you can all feel, and it's like...
Oh, and the audience.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean, you can feel it. One of the things I love about being on a stage, being a stagehand and being on stage, although in a hidden spot, when you hear 30,000 people erupt, it erupts. It's volcanic. It's spiritual in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool.
Yeah. There's no recreation of that other than the raw, real thing.
It's catching the Hail Mary.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl, It
is, how everybody feels good for that one moment in time, everything, it transcends everything else around us. And it's available to us, and yet we try to use trickery to get away from it, to try to steal the same thunder, and you can't.
No, you can't. Absolutely not. Well, I think that this music scene, or not the music community as a whole, whether it be Central Pennsylvania or the entire music community across the universe, thank God for people like you that are still keeping it true and teaching it down to the younger generations, man. Because I mean, if it wasn't for people that had heart and soul into it like yourself, we would just be sold off into AI, and all of our music would be that nowadays. And we need people like you to pass the torch down, man. And keep things rocking and rolling yourself, and that's what it's all about, man.
Thank you. That's to me, that is what it's about. It's what we pass on.
Yeah.
It's what we give to the next generation. Because, man, it's made my life happy at a lot of times, and I want those people to have the same thing.
Of course.
And that's why I love what you guys are doing. We're all on that same page, man. Get it out there. Tell people how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
Come be part of it with us.
Yeah.
Participate with us. I'll come support you, man. There's so many good bands in the area. A lot of us are really struggling to keep it going. And same with we had the earlier conversation with the bar owners, and we've got to support them.
Yeah.
Go on the off night. Go on the karaoke night, because they got bands on the weekend and it costs a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
We got to support each other.
Support each other. That's the only way we're going to get by.
Yep, I agree. You gotta make sure every leg of the table is supported 100%.
That's it exactly.
Well, Fred, thank you so much for your time coming on here, man. I appreciate your wisdom and your insight.
Thank you, man.
Of course.
That was a lot of fun. I appreciate it as well.
Oh my goodness, I feel like we could talk all night. There's so much more that we could have covered, but we'll have you back on sometime.
We'll do more.
Oh my God, yeah, I would love that.
All right, man. Thanks.
Fred, thank you so much.
Have a great night.
You too. It was awesome getting to sit down and talk to Fred. Stay tuned. We have John Merks coming up next.